And 1, 2, 3, here we go. Hey there, Patapon Saucepan. That's 1 week late for no real reason other than, various small reasons. Basically sums down to that I slept later than usual because on Saturday evening I was DMing for the maid group and I had a good time, but meant I went to sleep late, which means I got up late on the Sunday. And I mean, normally it would be fine, except on Sunday, at a certain point, the neighbor starts their washing machine that you can hear, and I didn't want to get that in the audio of Hyperdrifter Light Space Maker Man, because that game's too nice to be having their airwaves polluted that way. And so I ended up recording my normal stuff in the afternoon, which meant that I couldn't record this. So there you go. Hi, how's it going? Meatball Ride here. Meatball Rider. Dear cow, Powerful Wizard always plays to win. Powerful Wizard Secret Slide. So, I remember hearing about a secret slide. It was in the Secret Slide. Star Machine 2000 by Wintergatten. See, I was thinking that famous secret slide in the Mario. Well, now, it's a nice time instead. About watching fighting games, do you ever watch some Mortal Kombat X, or does the possibility of seeing skulls put you off? I watched Mortal Kombat X at EVO, and that's about it. I just don't think the game is interesting enough to watch. And apparently it's just always that one guy that wins everything anyway. So it was just kind of almost disappointing. It's like there's not a whole lot of oomph to that. But no, it just never it interests me a little bit. It's just not enough. There's not enough oomph to the movements. And that just kind of bothers me a little bit, so it's just a thing of taste, really. Skeleton's got nothing to do with it. Following on from that, what is your relationship with ultra gory violent games? Well, how did I read violent as violent? I'm not sure. I don't really care much for them, but I'm not particularly grossed out from them anyways, either. If it's over-the-top violence and whatnot, it's whatever. But then take, an abduction where there's a giant skeleton of a monster that's part of the environment that you walk through, and that skeeves me right way out. But if it's, being cartoony, gross for the case of sake of gross, that affects me less, funnily enough. Who would win in a fight between Ogmo and Meat Boy? I go with Meat Boy because I think the fact that he repairs himself is canon, given the cutscene in the Hell world, whereas I think Ogmo doesn't, because being able to basically Ogmo would have to kill Meat Boy an infinity of time, whereas Meat Boy will only need to kill Ogmo once. But if Ogmo's regeneration is part of the canon, then we might be looking at a stalemate. For if you could remove one concept from the world, never to return in any shape or form, what would you pick? Is it cheating to go with a very, very broad concept, such as greed? Because that's what I would go with. 5. The pummeling wizard appears in a shower of fists. This powerful wizard offers you the power to learn any fictional kick or punch for your own personal use. Remember that not all kicks and or punch are used for violence. Some of them also have non-violent utility uses. So with that in mind, what do you choose? I still want to have the serious punch from One Punch Man, just to know how wielding the power of gods feels like. And then never use it ever, but I think it's one of those cases where the one-time experience would be worth it. 6. How much mana do you have? I'd say in the low 40s. How much do we normally are supposed to have? I don't know. I don't know if that's Horrid Slies. That's just the number I got. A cat Sith is a pretty rad mythological feline, just saying, or one of the Japanese folklore cats or something. Man, oh yeah, I never thought about cat mythological creatures like the Lucky Neko. Like, he'd be a rad animal I would like to give a thorough petting to. And be all happy and he'd purr and then give me money, because that's what they do. Belmore! Oh boy. Iva Juliana, o cow, seasonal music. Or close enough. Anyways. Now I gotta copy and paste this address. And put it in the search bar here. Then we get Ruska Sika. Okay. Got some beats going on here. For the non-Finns out there, I'm making a reference to an actual parody Christmas song with the same name. Everyone understood the reference. Christmas here, a time of joy and tax returns. If nothing has gone awry, now should be the 4th of this, yeah. How have things been thus far? Seasonal mythological cat. So the Yule cat... that's a Yule cat? What? How is that a thing? Yule cat. The Yule cat, Icelandic Jolakotrun or Jolakator, is a monster from Icelandic folklore, huge and vicious cat said to lurk about the snowy countryside during Christmas time and eat people who have not received any new clothes to wear before Christmas Eve. What? Why did you make that decision, cat? The Yule cat has become associated with other figures from Icelandic folklore as the house pet of the giantess Grilla and her sons, the Yule lads. The threat of being eaten by the Yule cat was used by farmers as an incentive for their workers to finish processing the autumn wool before Christmas. The ones who took part in the work would be rewarded with new clothes, but those who did not would get nothing, thus would be preyed upon by the monstrous cat. The cat has alternatively been interpreted as merely eating away the food of ones without new clothes during Christmas feasts. The perception of the Yule cat as a man-eating beast was partly popularized by the poet Johan Hurkotlen, this poet Jalakatorin. That is hilarious. Why is that? Man, there's a ton of cats. Cactus Cat. What, from the song Cactus Cat of the American Southwest. Cactus describes bob-like, hair like thorns with long spines hanging from its legs and its armored, branching tail. And he would cut cactus and drink the juice. Then they'd get drunk. Wow. That's hilarious. Okay. Oh boy, I hope I don't get the hiccups during this. Now the sword business. Yes, right. I made a sword last time. Know that I have simplified the process considerably. In play, you would have to pay separately and dearly for most of the properties below, and you could influence what banes the sword would inherit, if any. The entire ritual is wrought with uncertainty, and you could very well end up wasting a fortune with little to show for it. Also, rolling a 1 when casting any spell means the wizard may suffer a corruption, which are permanent mutations. Good things you opted out of forging the sword yourself, as you phase out of existence for a while each time you cast a sword magic ritual. Mercurial Magic 89. You also didn't name your wizard, so here's a suggestion from the book, rolled randomly and used below. Oryx. Sorry about that. Name: Dwalka, Bolt of Abaddon. Sorry. Appearance: the blade is in the form of a stylized lightning bolt composed of white glass-like material which glows faintly. Touching it gives a shock, like a strong static electricity discharge. The fuller of the blade is seared with black, jagged, ugly binding runes. The grip is wrapped in charred leather, and the brass pommel bears a close resemblance to your own features, and the voice of the sword issues from the face on the pommel. Dwalka is a +2 longsword forged by Oryx's demon ally, a hulking entity composed of dust in the shape of an Urson ape. Okay, in the elemental plane of hell from a frozen lightning bolt. It is chaotic in alignment with an intelligence score of 16, assuming you are also at least this intelligent. It desires to vanquish lawful outsiders, Death Dealer. When Bane is struck, and must make a 4th save or instantly die, and also to reward the ambitious at all costs. Dwalka is capable of speech and telepathy. Banes, wizards, unerring throw, only against wizards. A weapon can be thrown with a 60-foot range and always returns to the wielder's hand. Elementals, unreasoning attack. Sword urges wielder to attack elementals at every opportunity. Lawful creatures, extended critical threat range. Powers. Shockblade, inflict an additional 1d4 electrical damage, double to duty 4 if opponent wears metal armor, is in water, or is composed of metal. Detect evil within 10 foot. Knows the stench of hell. Detect wizards within 90 feet. Throwing blade, sword can be thrown up to 20 foot to make a range attack. It always turns to its owner hand after a throw. Resistance, lightning damage. Wielder ignores the first 3 points of lightning damage each round and gains a +1 bonus saving throws against lightning damage. Demon Binding. With any successful strike against a demon or other exploding creature, the target must make a will save or be out to its current exact location for 1d4 turns. Cannot take any steps or teleport out unless this effect is magically dispelled. Dwalka's cantankerous sword, wholly dedicated to the cause of chaos with a burning hatred towards elementals, born of its envy of their freedom, and wizards for being bound. It seeks to cause more chaos by encouraging those with high ambitions, no matter what they may be. What will you do with Dwalka? Do you hand it to your fighter buddy? Can you trust him? Or will you keep it to yourself and use it against your rival? I mean, if the sword hates wizards, like, I don't want the sword to be used by a person it dislikes, so I will hand it to my fighting buddy. And I just think that's polite. Like, if you're going to be giving life to something, it seems really rude to then go out of your way to just make them angry all the time. Like, even if I'm a wizard, I can still be nice. Later, my process for making the sword. I rolled randomly on a sword magic table, saw a story emerging, and jiggered the results accordingly. The sword's personality is supposed to be a blend of the personalities of the caster, the blacksmith, patrons invoked, and any other particulars of its creation. In this case, a chaotic caster, a demon, and present lightning in a hell dimension. The end result? A sword that resents being created. Congratulations on making an enemy! Oh yeah, one of the results of the Bane tables is gods. You could end up with a suicidal sword that makes you go berserk in the presence of any god. I mean, that sounds pretty rad too. Oh, that was good. That was fun. I'm glad you went out of the way to create this whole thing, just for me, basically. Thank you so freaking much. SAGers, back in the day, you used to play Voxatron as BBS levels. That's batting for videos. You still play Voxatron. Have you gone back to it since last video it was in and plan to ever do more videos of it? Not really, not really, and not really. It was a fun thing, except by this last one I did, I kind of felt that this was just basically always doing the same thing. And also, to be perfectly honest, the game, wasn't on Steam, right? So it was kind of a hassle to update because I got the game from a Humble Bundle. And every time I had to look for what the website was and all that. And in the end, I just felt like there were diminishing returns. To the point where at this point, I think that whole thing is done. I mean, I think we did pretty much what we could with that game. Do you not agree? Maybe you don't, and you're allowed to, but in my opinion, I think we did what we could do. Mick of Fire. I didn't explain my Super Mario Bros. Roulette sufficiently. The roulette is the image inside the swirl. Okay, like I thought, which changes every time the page is loaded. The image are taken from the excellent Super Mario Bros. Tumblr, which I first heard about from a previous video. Anyway, with that mess out of the way, let's proceed with this mess. I like to mispronounce words that I know what they are. Deep cover. Oh man, yeah, Hotline Miami. That game has music. What is your favorite, or at least most tolerated meme? I still like All Your Vase Belong to Us. It still speaks to me in a very strange way, so I'll probably go with that. What is your favorite future technology? Hard light. Making stuff out of light, I think, is super rad. And assuming that it doesn't take too much energy is basically also, an important step towards super self-sufficiency. 3. What will the future hold? Many things. I mean, eventually the human species is gonna get erased, either by ourselves or just maybe like a random gamma ray coming from the depths of space. Maybe just vacuum decay, honestly. The future, the ultimate future, is the absolute end of time. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen there though, but also like that shouldn't be for quite a while, so not really something worth getting worried about. What format would the Riffy thing be released on? Would it be an audio file or a video? Could possibly consider releasing it as a torrent in case of copyright police. Honestly, the way I see it is it would be a live-only event, and it is not something that I would record. Of course, someone else could record it in any way that they want and make it available. But it's the kind of thing where what matters is the event and not necessarily the end product, which means that I might not actually be recording it. Something to keep in mind. 5. What is up? It's a ceiling! What a dad joke! 6. Christmas, huh? I mean, when you do what I do, you don't really have vacations. Christmas is just like a day and the other. I mean, I'm gonna have, on the 24th, a dinner with my mom's side of the family. And on the 25th, I'm gonna have dinner with my father. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I can really ask for. And I mean, you guys are busy, like, swelling up my ego with high-quality gifts here and there, and just so much love that I still find it hard to properly pronounce how much warmth it gives me. Well, this was an attempt. That's a little bit impromptu, and being impromptu, I think it was one of the most purest ways I could say it, I guess. 7. A powerful flying saucer sets down in your yard and you are given the keys for it with manual. What do you do with a UFO? It's really nice of that alien. I'm gonna try and fly around. Like, I'm gonna, assuming it goes pretty fast. So, you know, yeah, I'm definitely gonna check out around the world. And, assuming that it's safe, and it goes quickly enough, yeah, of course I'm gonna go explore a little bit of space. Now, the problem is, if I get to keep it, your UFO would be hard to, you know, keep parked somewhere without attracting attention. And also, I'm not sure what kind of fuel it would use, but for the initial joyride, man, I would be beside myself with euphoria. Probably. Philly Pot, you want tiny beholders? I got you covered. I don't know what you're doing here. That could be anything. The Creature Chronicles, Atomic. Aww. Aww. Smallest and you look so sad. Only 8 inches wide. That's tiny. Oh, it doesn't look as cute as a real full-size beholder, but yeah, the size of a human head. I don't know, the fact the size of a human head and it is shaped roughly like a head makes it look more just like a flying head with a weird eye than a proper beholder, but the intention is there. No, the attention is pure. Originally, this creature was published in Monsters of Firen for D&D 3rd edition, but converted to Pathfinder. You can choose one as one of your familiar. Oh man, oh man. So you'll be done with Star Row by the time you post your next Patreon video. Any post-mortem thoughts? The game is really bad at being friendly to newcomers. So if you haven't played a Mario 64 game in a while, it's gonna be rough. It is going to be extremely rough. But once you get into it, you can appreciate how very well made a game is. It's not without faults, you know? That much is sure. But if you can live with them, the game is genuinely extremely fun, if not extremely imbalanced. Levels seriously needs to be renumbered, and even like stars within the level themselves need to be renumbered a little bit. But otherwise, it's a very nice game, and I'm glad that I played it, and I never would have played it if it was not for all of you guys, so thank you very much for making that possible. With a heart, Did you ever play Guild Wars 2, and how was it? I have not ever played Guild Wars 2. I played Guild Wars 1. Guild Wars 1 is a game I spent a significant amount of time with and had a lot of fun playing with AOD and another of his friend. But just Guild Wars 2 like is so different that I just never really got interested into getting into it, and that's about it. The other day, Horikawa invited me to play with her, except Guild Wars 2 is a game that takes a significant amount of hard drive space, which I did not really have at the time, so that kind of was put on the side for a little moment. And there we go. Xerix! Hey, Alcal, been a little while since I even listened to these. Blame Bloodborne. So I made some little perler bed thingy to use as Christmas decorations on my tree. I have a Goomba, a mushroom, and a power star I put on top. Been waiting to make a couple more, but I'm not sure what to make. What preferably 32x32 sprites might make a nice adornment. Doesn't have to be Mario related. I'm gonna suggest a Boo. I'm gonna suggest a Me Tool, and I'm going to suggest. I'm surprised I don't have a Baby Yoshi. Like, that's such a nice little friendly thing to put. Like, Christmas is the holiday is for kids. So please, you know, strand a kid in your tree. It's the logical thing to do! Duker's next. Duker has things to say and music to share. All together now. Goran Grabovich Sofurska? Y'all making me, like, say terrible words that I don't understand. If you were the focus of Zebra and the Zebra focus, you're like freaking both. How many marathon would you win, you think? Like a whole 2 or 3, easily, right up in a row, too. Follow-up question, do you remember which of your appeals the previous question references? Not at all. A super helpful hint, totally, yo. It was the LP that first made me start watching your stuff when randomly popped out against my recommended videos. Man, like, honestly, like, unless the phrase somehow gains some kind of meme status, like, I've been doing this for what, at this point, like, 8 years, 9 years? I'm not gonna remember the exact specific, unless it was really recently. I feel a little bit bad, but every time someone props up something, like, that's a little bit clever, a little bit weird, that I don't remember, I think it's a good sign that it typically makes me smile. Minor spoiler, not really, since you got a complete gift list, I think. My gift in the mag is next week. Just want to say that you're free to read a letter on camera. I didn't mention in the letter anything, so I thought I'd clear it up beforehand just because I worry too much about unnecessary stuff. Now, don't worry, like, the only letters I don't read is if it specifically tells me to not read it. And, Red Mage made sure that those were indicated. So unless you said on your letter not read it and you change your mind, like, that's not something you gotta worry about, my friend. Not something you gotta worry about at all. Sins. Hey there, Raocow. Hope the start of December is treating you well. I just got a part-time job alright. I just got a part-time job as stand-in for a distant aunt who went for an operation. It is going well, at least. Well, good. I'm glad. So you get a job at Christmas time. Good luck with that. I wish you well. Anyway, on my RPG thing, I wonder if peeps are interested in it at all, or if I should stop these updates. Anyway, after we set up the town proper, having a get-together party inviting a nearby tribe of gnolls to the festivities, the party found a spirit of the forest as they were out hunting, and was told that she awoke because she felt some great danger. Wheeler found a great danger to be an undead dragon, and the kobolds assembled their best warriors, plus their fledgling alchemist for the battle. We also got a few of Nald's warriors to strengthen our ranks. Unfortunately, I was a bit late to the party because I overslept IRL, and in the story, one of my characters was having trouble finding one of his old equipment to alleviate the debuff he wasn't in this world. Anyway, it turns out the dragon was messing with forbidden runes and ended up summoning a demon, which possessed him for engraving a rune on himself. Persistent by, sorry. 2 kobolds died in a fight and would have been a third leader of kobolds of the town had our party leader not jump in at the last second and take a blow for him. getting corrupted by a demon in the process. We held a funeral for a kobolds a few days ago. My character uses necromancy to channel the spirits, allowing the friends and relatives to talk to the party one last time, out of the disapproval of at least one of the other party members. Nah, I like how complex these stories can get. It's a really good quality summary. I am not able to summarize role-playing events well at all. It always ends up being a weird, disorganized mess, which I guess, if you know me, doesn't really surprise all that much. Anyway, questions. This is relating to my previous one. I did say that nothing ages, so you won't get tired, but you can use it to mention sleeping. What kind of dragon-like creatures do you like best? Asian dragons, Western dragons, or wyverns? I like tube-shaped dragons, so I guess that would be more like Asian dragons, I guess. But I like the scaly kind of dragons too, but you know, like if you could combine the both, like a scaly tube-shaped dragon, that would be the best kind. If you could have a Pokemon as a pet in real life, which would you want? I want a Mr. Mime so I can lord it over a human. No, the Mr. Mime's just so weird and so out of place. Who wants a pet clown? That's just weird and gross. I don't know. Like, the cats are pretty cool. Like, all the various cat Pokemons are pretty cool. And there's that bouncy oinky Pokemon that I have no idea what the name is, but is pretty rad. It's hard to say, honestly. Because, like, all the Pokemon are on the dog level of obedient. So you just kind of take whichever one looks awesome. So would I just end up taking a Cubone? Because they're pretty rad, but I don't like Bone. I think I'd have trouble with its helmet. So I'm going to take that Springy Pig. I think that's a good idea. Anyway, sorry for the dumb questions. I hope you all have a good week, and looking forward to seeing your reaction to the Mag Contest results. Cow XD! I should really try and join that next year, but I would have big trouble getting with the other peeps, considering where I live. Well, just have to basically join in early, or like send your stuff earlier, because I'm pretty sure that like peeps who have joined the Advent Christmas, like the past 2 years and this one, there includes people from Europe and whatnot, and they all just managed to make it work. Best bet, if you want more actual information, is to check the secret forum I don't have access to on a Talk House. There's like a secret Norauka one I can't see, where that gets organized. If you're serious about getting involved, that's where you gotta check things out. Meatball Rider, a Marvel bonus. First thought of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity. Plus, who would be on your dream roster? Man, I was so hyped when I saw that trailer. I was taken so much by surprise, because at the time, I had not heard of the Marvel vs. Capcom 4, rumors. I'm a little bummed that the character roster is relatively small for a Marvel vs. game, with 24 fighters. But if it means that more of them are better balanced, while also like more unique, like compared to one another, maybe, you can make a case for quality over quantity. I guess we're gonna see. I'm not surprised that Morgan made it in, but I would have liked to have another representative of Darkstalker for once. But I guess she's more or less the Ryu of the series, but like Phobos or something would have been a nice surprise. Alas, I don't know if I have any more people I want to see in. Like, I just kind of hope for like more, like, to continue with very unique stuff. Like Amaterasu in 3, like, is not something anyone would have predicted. And like on the Marvel side, you only have MODOK, no one would have predicted. I want to be surprised. Like, yeah, right now they're announcing the obvious stuff. Bring me something I would not expect. Although, like, it's supposed to be 12 Capcom, 12 Marvel. I'm assuming 10 of them on each side are gonna be the obvious picks. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on the surprising 2s on each side. Nee, you mentioned something last week about the main Dune series in the movie. Do you mean the David Lynch movie, the one from the 80s with Sting? Wasn't that pretty terrible? I thought it was pretty alright. Well, I don't know, I thought it wasn't that bad. My father is the one that made me watch it because he's always been a big fan of sci-fi, and I was alright. I don't know. It's the first time I heard it was supposed to be terrible, honestly. One, you kind of ask if any of those book series I mentioned were worth reading. I haven't actually read any Redwall or The Giver, but some say they're good. The first Dune novel, at least I think, is worth reading, and I think the Ender series is good, but the author's kind of a terrible person, which I think alters some people's opinions of his book works. Well, same. I would recommend sticking to just Ender's Game, Speaking for the Dead, Xenocide, and Children of the Mind, and ignoring all the other books. You're a busy guy, so I don't expect you to be utilizing these recommendations, but hey, I mean, seeing them mentioned here, they're gonna stay in my brain for a little bit, so if I get the chance and I see the name, you know, it increases the chance that I would take a gander, that I would, you know, take the time to take a look. Two, so you listened to that to a Hamilton song last week. Any opinion on it, or were you too busy trying to talk over it to really notice what you were listening to? The latter. Okay, so guys, any song recommendation that you play through this thing here, if there are lyrics, I will not be able to listen to the lyrics at all. Because, you know, like, I still have the task of talking to addressing your question, and, you know, still, I'm still trying to entertain y'all, even while a song is playing in the background. So the chances I'll be paying any attention to the words at all is extremely slim. During the Star Road LP, we're talking about the bees, and our dog looked like she perked up suddenly. Her name is Bee, like Beatrice, pronounced B. It was probably a coincidence, but if you like, you could try giving her commands, and I can see if she'll respond. Just try saying this in your most clear and commanding voice. Feel free to leave some space between commands, so I can break them into separate audio clips. Oh boy. B, hey, B, sit. Good girl, shake. Good girl. I hope that works. Now that you're the super expert man at Star Road, does watching things like this make you want to yell at your screen as much as I do? Actually, I just kind of laugh now at the same time. I may have been yelling. Well, let's take a look here. Is this like some of my past performance videos? Sure is. It's video 1. No, like that part here, this part in particular... This part is really hard because you have no sense. Like, also at the time, my controller was even bad, like even worse set up than it is now. But, like, this is hard to eyeball. Like, I think the problem is that I end up at a fairly advanced area before I was ready. Like, and that's just the reality. Man, volume is low on that thing. But, like, yeah, like, it's just that I just was not ready for it. Now it's not that bad. Like, if I were to replay that, I'm not worried or anything. I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point. Video games. Zachary, hey there, Al man. These top 15 or so levels in Mango 3 are just so good. Any of them could have really won in another contest. I just want to know how you felt about the lower places, though. Now you're nearly been through the whole thing. Honestly, like the lower ranks were of a quality higher than you see in most contests. So I knew that you know, in the end game of the contest, we'd be starting to see some really, really good stuff. Though I haven't heard of Team Skull, I think it's time to change that. Yo. I'm not big on the Pokemon. Like it's not. Why is that something I would like go on my way to search about? If I was by me for just for the guitar. They look really try hard. Like they're trying so hard to try to pretend to look like dangerous, but kind of a really cartoony, kid-safe way. Smug pose. So this team approaches you while making gangster gestures and stuff, and then they bust out some lame puns or rhymes, and are just buffoons in general, all the while this silly theme is playing. It's really silly, and I don't want to spoil you too much about it. Record scratch. And then you got this going. Alright. Sound of silence 8-bit. That's making me way too happy. I wanted to get a nice pun in there somewhere, and speaking of all that... Speaking of all that, we both have remarkably good timing. Shag's actually doing a playthrough of Pokemon Moon right now, so you can spoil yourself at your own pace, rather than someone else's. And really, I feel that the main story of these games are incredibly talkhouse in their sense of humor. I recommend you to experience it in some method. I'm just gonna keep the song running and ask questions from a sleepy mind here, against my better judgment. Man, Song of Silence is like one of my top 5 songs forever, honestly. Even in 8-bit form, it still feels powerful. Remember, guys, when I sung Song of Silence during production? Those were good times. When did you really become comfortable with this whole idea of Let's Play? Very early on. Like, honestly? I felt comfortable with the idea of doing this very early on, but I start to really feel, like, quote-unquote, comfortable, in italics, around, like, Second Reality Project 2. Like, it's something that I feel came fairly naturally. I don't want to brag. I'm not the type to really go about what I think are my qualities, as y'all know. But I think that's something that really went in good. Two, I haven't seen many movies lately, and I pinned that upon having a ton of work, and not doing it in a super timely fashion. So is there anything you feel that you're missing out on in particular? The whole Marvel Universe thing, I just haven't seen any of it. Like, it has to be popular for a reason, and as a fan of watching things for the spectacle's sake, I get the feeling I'd have my, my 2 hours worth of roller coaster ride. But I just never really took the time, and it's just kind of running past me, but it's just, I don't know, it's just... it doesn't attract me enough with the idea of actually going out and getting anything done, I guess. 3N, I think I figured out your naming scheme for these videos. The topic that's topical, not salt and... What? I think I figured out your naming scheme for these videos. The topic that's topical and not insulting at the moment. How close am I to truth? You're, like, honestly... The method's pretty much that. Also, though, it tends to be something I don't really talk about at all, as an extra little bonus, or very little. But that's something that's harder to control, because, I mean, very often, a lot of these questions are about things that are very modern, even if they don't really affect me all that much, it turns out. Do you feel that dog barking can be art in a given situation? When would it be seen most as art? Well, if you want seen most as art, make the dog bark in a museum while it's cordoned off to make it obvious that the dog is part of an exhibit. And by definition, by the majority of, the art community, the dog and its barks will be art. Put a sign that says, listen, or hide the dog, and you're even more assured that the dog's bark is gonna be seen as art. Art is weird and silly and funny, especially when you consider that a lot of postmodern artists are really more about trolling the art world than being part of the art world, and basically academics just putting both of them together. It's great. Tabby Turnip, uncontrollable. For some reason, singing it out loud, not out loud, but in all caps, made me think of Indestructible, especially maybe in the context of Tabby Turnip being Tabby Turnip. Moonstruck Blossom vs. Queen Zetonia 2 Extended Kirby Triple Deluxe Music. That is a title. Hey, how can I start this con off wishing you a Merry Christmas, and then gloating I was finally leaving you a comment on Tuesday instead of at 8 AM Sunday. But it's 11 PM Saturday now. Rest in peace, and rest in peace, sadness. So, what do you think of glitches in video games? Those little exploits, those small or big oversights, all the kitties getting 128 rare candies, or people on the internet making level based on flying into a suspended face in the middle of dank castles. Every time a new game, usually fighters, come out, I get a bit sad thinking that we're too smart now. We won't make games that are broken apart so easily, or that we don't have 100 2D games coming out a year. They'll have basic things we can do to crack open them. Of course, games that have bugs and stuff with them still, but I'd be really sad when they just stop being true, you know? I hope trying a game I'll just see some buggy things someone made a video about. I guess that's my only question this time, so happy December! Happy December to you, man. I know, I think glitches are fun. They can be funny. It's just the difference is that nowadays you got AAA games that are just rampant and overridden by bugs, which, I mean, it's pretty funny as a spectator if you're not into a game. But I can understand that being disappointed if you're looking forward to said game. With that said, I think that bugs and glitches are super cool too, if they're not exploitable. Like, you know, like key flying with the key in Super Mario World, that's hilarious. Soft locking the game using Venom and BB Hood and Marvel 2, that's kind of a jerk move. So there's kind of like different categories of bugs, but the harmless, funny ones, yeah, they should certainly be kept. And it's really unfortunate that Mario Maker Nintendo is all about squashing out every single little buggy interaction in order, you know, I don't know why they do that, because like it actually would open up design place, but no, everything needs to be used exactly as designed, otherwise they just squash things and everyone is sad. So mostly I agree with you. I agree. Bugs are fun. And I mean, like 128 rare candies, yeah, it's an easy bug to do. If people want to ruin their game by, you know, super cheating like that, that's their decision to do. And if they find it fun, super awesome, great, awesome, fantastic. That's my very controversial opinion about bugs and glitches. A cesspool of hatred. Oh no, Zachary has turned into a robot. What are we going to do? Yeah, I did include all those tags at the end of Zachary's message because, for the sake of ease and looking nice, oldies but happies. Jet Set Radio. That's a video game. So PlayStation Experience happened a few days ago. Did you catch any of the news from that? Marvel 3's on PS4 and coming to Steam in March. That I'm surprised, honestly, that Disney would be okay with that. So that's super great. And then apparently fixed a lot of the frame dropping issues that were on last gen. Maybe now we'll see more just training stage every tournament. Hey, I'll have you know, in Ultimate, it was mostly that winter stage with Tronbon in it. And a new Marvel's coming, and it's 2 versus 2. What? And Infinity Stones? Oh no! The spectacle of Tekken versus Street Fighter returns to haunt us all. It depends. Like, I understand Infinity Stones are supposed to work more like they did in, like, what's it called? That Marvel fighting game, like X-Men versus something, but like without Street Fighter, or maybe it was Street Fighter versus X-Men. Anyways, there was one game that had that Infinity Stone gimmick, and it worked fine. So I'm hoping it's not going to be exploitative like it was in Stricken. At least Mega Man X is finally in, though, so that's good news. But word on the grapevine is that Marvel might be going all House of M on this entry. No X-Men, no Muties, nothing that ain't a cinematic universe, because their boss is endlessly spiteful. Your reaction? I just feel, okay, maybe in thinking about it, maybe this is why the roster is so diminished, because they can only put in 12 duders from, you know, because there aren't that many people to choose from if you can only choose from cinematic universe. However, hopefully that means Deadpool will be in, and it'll be better than he was in 3, because I kind of like Deadpool still, even if he is kind of saturated in the comics. Fingers crossed that they can have a wide variety, you know? And I mean, I guess that means there won't be any Dark Phoenix. I mean, gotta take what we can. Although Marvel without Doom or without, what's-his-face, Magneto, is gonna be really weird. As for JoJo, I think at this point it has around 110-ish episodes or so. It has really long course, but I don't think it's quite unsurmountable. They're still only at part 4 after all. You can probably make an argument either way for reading the manga or watching the anime for some parts. What I've seen of part 1's manga art didn't impress me too much personally, but it was Araki just starting out. I still prefer how the anime shows it though. Part 2 is where the show just drops all pretense of being normal in any sense, and the soundtrack and the openings are just glorious! 110-ish episode isn't that bad. Like, I did go through the entirety of the 2001 Madhouse Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter animated series. And it was a little bit over 100 episodes, so I just need to find a time to just sit down and, like, marathon. So the issue is finding the time for it, but it is something I want to do. Like, the more you talk about it, the more I do honestly want to see it. It's just, making it actually happen. The openings are actually a pretty strong argument in favor of watching the anime version, I feel. David Pro, the guys behind anime, always have lots of fun with them and stuff and all sorts of foreshadowing. They even make different versions of the OPs for certain events. Not gonna say more than that. That's very American. Like, it's really weird that you get different versions of OPs other than, like, the seasonal changes. That's actually pretty rad. Finally, congratulations on finally destroying the moon, the world, the sun, and the galaxy, and everything inside. You have destroyed Christmas forever, only to bring it back by the power you have inspired in others. What a concept! I agree. Man, no Silver Gunna from anyone this week. I'm surprised. Pizza Pony. Out of all the Rao cows in the world, you're the Rao cowiest. Also, 2 things to Sins. I am most definitely interested in your RPG happenings, and you can join in on the Christmas merriment if you ask Rao Cow for his address at his discretion. Use Amazon.ca to have something be shipped directly to him. Their selection is limited in some department, but anything can make for a good gift. Order now, and it'll probably reach him before the 25th. I still think it's more cool neat, if it's like part of the exchange, the annual exchange, I don't know, maybe music related to last year. And first question, alright, Q Mi Kyoku Nico Nikuduga Automatic Mario with vocals. This classic piece of nonsense. Wow, that's blurry. That's 240p. Question, thanks to self, how long I can pad this. 1. Last year in my Christmas letter, I mentioned an automatic video that led to me discovering Let's Play. Was just curious if you've seen it before at some point. See music link. Oh yeah, that is a classic you've just linked to. Know that the original video that first hit YouTube had been removed for some reason some time ago. I'm sure it's still on Nico Nico though. I have my doubts on that, but yeah, I'm not surprised by it, unfortunately. Also, I believe that the real version is longer than 11 minutes. Like, this is like part 1, isn't it? One be, how do you like my selection of candy? I'm glad I procrastinated, else I would have known that Kit Kats are your favorite. Also, Amazon.ca didn't have regular M&Ms, so I got peanut butter. Man, I already started eating them. When you asked for a favorite candy and chocolate, I really should have dawned on me that you had a plan behind that, but no! I legit got super surprised. And I feel so dumb about it. Thank you so much, though. Also, the Reckless... Like, just so happens that the ghost is a huge fan of licorice, so she had quite a smile upon her face. Are you ever going to give the tripod I got you a try? I plan on using the tripod this year. That's why I've been mostly alone all this time. Except every time I just sat down and got things done manually. If there's a box that's big enough that I should put it on a table, I definitely will, though. It's just that for now, I just feel that holding it in my hand, my phone in my hand, makes it more feel like it's more personal. But yeah, like, I have your tripod at the ready, and I'm ready to use it anytime it becomes relevant. Don't worry. Swiggity swag, what's in the bag? This is a quote from cartoon Ed, Edd and Eddy, a Canadian-made cartoon that never aired in Canada. That's not true. Ed and Ed. I'm looking at the Nico video. Ed and Eddy totally aired on Teletoon. So I am quite aware with that show. I'm not. Where did you learn it never aired in Canada? 3. At some point in the future, I'd like to see you play Super Mario Sunshine, simply because that's a game I've watched the most LPs of, mostly by chance that the LP I watch end up LPing it. And you've already co-commented on one part of Pink's LP. You're already a step there. I mean, that would require emulation for the GameCube to be good and my computer to be strong enough to be able to both, you know, do that very well, in addition to being able to record. So we might still be like a generation of computer or two off. But I mean, considering I have no plans of stopping to LP, I'm pretty sure that's a thing that's going to happen at some point. And I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all are going to make it happen quicker, right? No, sooner rather than later, out of sheer force of will. You guys, you monstrous great people, you. For do you have any envy for those with good memories? Surprise memory test! What is the name of Mibiblee's archenemy? Also, you started Mibiblee's quest on December 7th last year. Did the creator ever make that final update? I believe they did make the final update. It's Crocodibly. It's Crocodibly. That's something I remember, but I mean, that's kind of easy because, man, well, it's still there. Because everything in Mibiblee's quest ends with Ibly. Alright, let's see. See, Crocodibly! I was right. But that wasn't a very hard... You asked me way harder questions in the past, my friend. You are the one responsible for sharpening my memory bone. Fine, why not a Patreon of Tabby Turnip? I was not aware that Tabby Turnip was a Patreon. What does Tabby Turnip does on the Patreon? Also, Tabby Turnip, I did not mean to put you suddenly on a pedestal here by suddenly. This came as a surprise. This week I did not read any text before putting them on the internet, so... 6. If they were a robot master wizard man, what do you think his stage would be? What are his attacks and what ability does Mega Man get from him? I guess that would be separate from Magic Man as seen in Mega Man. Oh, I want to say Mega Man Base? No, because Wizard Man would be in a magical, like, cave that kind of transitions over being an ancient temple. And his attacks would be a lot of, like, you know, disappearing, maybe transforming into a swarm of bats, lightning coming from holes in his chamber. And the ability that Mega Man would get is that you would get like a remote control laser that you can, you know, like shoot out like for like a few blocks to decide how it goes, how it moves. And then you press the shot button again, and like everywhere where that laser is just kind of explodes. So it's kind of like a trapping weapon. Kind of slow to use, but really powerful if you're patient enough to master it. Sort of like, you know, a wizard's magic. Yeah, it makes sense. 7. The space intentionally left blank. Nick of Fire, you end it all. We got a little piece of music, and that's not all, because we also got a question you gotta ask, so let's get that done. How about that? Hotline Miami 2 again, but it's on the moon this time. Will there be a pat of vote after Mango 3? Do you have other plans? I do have other plans. As Patapons and or saucepans, you get a sneak preview of what I'm gonna do. Basically, after Maggle 3, I want to, you know, expend some nostalgia, and I'm gonna play Donkey Kong 96 on the Game Boy. And after that, I plan on playing, because by then it will be released, VLDC 9. The game's going to be released. That's going to be a gigantic game because there's 117 levels and 150-something, 153, I think, exits. Like, it is literally the largest single Mario game ROM hack in existence as of yet. And I am super looking forward to that. Because every other past run-throughs of the vanilla contest games have always been just magnificent experiences. And I'm looking forward to going through that again, I guess. As simple as that. This is Raocow, Patapon, Patreon, Saucepan. Thank you so much once more for making this physically possible. I cannot thank you guys ever enough. I try each week, and I just feel like I keep falling short. So keep being super awesome-tastic people, and, no, yeah, just keep at it, okay? Like, and that's not a suggestion, you know? It is a very heavy suggestion with implications attached to it. What the hell am I even saying?